Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Thursday, November 14th, 2024, and today's topic will be facing the challenge. And it's going to be something kind of new, which is facing the challenge step-by-step illustration. It's kind of a new idea for me. But before we begin, welcome back. If you're returning, welcome. If you're new, I sketch and post every day, and I use a 5-minute timer. Today might be a 10-minute timer to stay focused, and to build a daily sketching habit. And as you can see, I'm going to start with a pencil. So yeah, this will be step by step, so I'm going to approach it that way. And the theme, because today's or this week's seems to be about like life themes, and so we'll take some of the ideas from the previous videos this week, so you might want to check them out if you feel like it, and incorporate it into a small illustration. So I'll go ahead and start a 10-minute timer like I said. Normally I do 5, but I'll do 10 because this might be longer. I don't know how long it'll take because it's an experiment. So yeah, I'm using a mechanical pencil. These triangles are nice if you can get one because they allow you to draw boxes pretty easily. So first of all, you might want to start like on a blank page, and I'm going to put this kind of in the middle. And I have a lot of ideas as usual, but we'll take it a step at a time. That might be a little too small, but that's okay. I kind of wanted to keep it in camera, that's why. So if you're here for the daily sketching routine, then yeah, I just set a 10-minute timer, so you can sketch whatever and just use this as a kind of help for that. You might want to just check out what this video is about as far as the step-by-step part of it, and then come back to it. I mean, it's kind of a new thing for me. I mean, I've done similar kind of things, but I'm going to be more methodical and just kind of explain the inspiration and everything. So the idea of facing the challenge comes from like the theme of the hero's journey, because I kind of like to, well, one, I'm writing a story that is sort of like the hero's journey. It's mythic, and then in life we sometimes also are on our own hero's journey. And this is one of the stages, is the challenge stage. So this is after you've crossed the threshold. I'm not going to go into, like, that would be a good video actually, but I'm not going to go into like all of the hero's journey, but maybe a little bit, because I do like to talk about it. So the hero's journey is like this circle, and this is where you start. and then somewhere along the way, let's say right here, hopefully you can see that. I don't want to adjust the camera too much. It wants to blur though. So this is like the threshold, and so you cross the threshold, and then this is kind of the challenge area. This is where we're at right now, or for this topic. And then this is like the ordeal. That is the most challenging part, but that's another topic. And I'll put Hero's Journey for reference. And just kind of along the same lines, there's that one painting that I don't know the name of. I don't even know the artist, which I've looked it up, I just don't remember. Because I tend to not remember stuff like that. But it's the image of the guy standing on the mountain. This kind of thing. And then there's like mountains, so we're gonna be inspired by that. So I like this imagery for the hero's journey because, well, one, the mountains, I talked about that as being like an important theme in my life. Does he have a cane? I don't know. This one will have that. And so yeah, we sketched mountains, and so for facing the challenge, we'll draw something kind of like this in here. And this could be used for other things. This is just like this specific step-by-step. I guess it's a tutorial, I don't know. A how-to. Apparently that's the category my channel is in, is how-to. I mean, that's already kind of okay. So this would be kind of like a thumbnail. So maybe I'll start by explaining that. So like, let's say you sketch something like this, which is not a bad way to sketch, by the way, for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or to use your sketchbook. So you're just kind of doodling and sketching. And it could also be from, you could be looking at this picture, because that's how I got inspired by it. And then decide, okay, well, create like a picture out of it, meaning you put a frame, a picture frame. So that's kind of what we're going to do here. And it might be a little small, but I just wanted it to fit into the, it'll still work. And it might be better that it's kind of a small illustration. Actually. So this is like a thumbnail. So that's your thumbnail right there. And this size, I would call this, like this could actually be an illustration. There's not an exact size to it. I feel like I need to cough, but I'll be alright. But yeah, unless I need to, I'm not going to edit this. This is just going to be real time, as they say. But first we'll sketch. We'll do the sketch part of the illustration. So to do that, I did have to cough. Let's think about the composition. And again, you might want to do little thumbnails. I've already shown that. And thumbnails can help with like the horizon line, if you want the horizon line to be in the middle, higher up, or lower down. We're going to go with we'll kind of go off of this the original sort of inspiration, which was this painting. But either way, I mean, we'll do it kind of like, so from this view, sort of right here, it's kind of in the middle. And you can kind of tell because whatever is above the horizon line, you'll be kind of looking upwards, and whatever is below, you'll be looking kind of downwards. So if the figure is sort of in the middle, you're kind of looking at the middle of the person, like, if that makes sense. So we'll do it kind of in the middle for simplicity. But I wanted to set this up so that you could do your own version of it, like once you kind of check out like this video. Plus there's some topics that could be helpful, such as figure drawing and stuff like that, and composition. So let's just do this setup like real quick. So I've already gone over mountains, so we've done that a lot. In one of the videos I actually used my right hand, but I'll just use my regular hand here. So this is the horizon. You can put, and we'll call this like the middle ground. So we'll create the middle ground first. So we'll just do some mountains real quick. That's kind of why I like to use my right hand, because I kind of come up with random things, but this is fine. So as I do this, I'm being really loose with it because I kind of want the happy accidents, as Bob Ross used to say. So that's 10 minutes. I'll start another one. So you might want to just sketch for 10 minutes, and if so, congratulations. If you want to continue. So that'll be like the middle ground. And then in the background, we could have a little bit more. We could kind of sketch in some even further mountains. And then anything beyond that, unless it's like really high, which is possible since the land isn't completely even, but you might want to just make those very indistinct, because the land is like kind of up, and then the mountains are different heights. So that might not be a bad idea to kind of have a few back there. But that's the middle, and then the back, and then you could have different clouds. If you want it to be extra dramatic, give it some perspective, because clouds can kind of move. Like they're not just flat. They can come towards you and stuff. So keep it pretty loose, because you want to let some of the accidental stuff happen. And I wouldn't worry too much about, this is the first pass, which is the sketch, so I wouldn't worry too much about the shading, because like this shading right here, you can, it's still not really indicating like the light and dark, it's just kind of even right now, or outlined. And then for this foreground, which is where the figure is going to be standing, so let's figure out, so to speak, let's figure out the figure, like where they'll be. So if you put the figure down here, so I kind of put the horizon in the middle here, like that really has nothing to do with, like that has to do with your composition, and it affects everything else, but it's not saying that you have to put the figure like in the middle. That's not what that means. However, if you were to put, let's say I want, because part of this is how big you want the figure. So let's say I want it to be like that big, because I kind of drew this box a little small, so I don't want the figure to be so tiny. But let's just say that we want it to be this tall. which gives you some room to work with. So then now let's figure out like what that does to the composition here. I would divide this in half. I have a figure drawing playlist if you're not sure how to set up the figure, plus there's a million tutorials on YouTube about it. This is kind of my way of doing it. So at this point, I'm going to set up the figure and talk about that and leave enough room for you to basically do it however you want. And I'm not even going to say that it has to be like a certain kind of character or anything. But this is more about the step-by-step part. So if you do the middle, and then, so this is your top half, and then like the bottom half, and then the middle part here, because it's going to be a back view. So the shoulder isn't at the middle, like that's like the ribs. It's a little bit above that, and then kind of like that. This is the width of the hip. So from a back view, there's some differences. So I'm just going to have this figure be kind of simple, like facing forward, not doing anything too fancy, and just kind of see what happens. I'm just going to have him like standing. I go into more detail about how to set this up in my other figure drawing videos, but you can kind of see right here. So what happens is that when you reach the bottom of this part, you can adjust the. I like this setup because you can adjust the feet. So for example, from the back view, the heels are right here, so the feet aren't going to hang down, like they're going to go forward. So like that. So I wanted to use a pencil because, one, when you're having a lot of this like overlapping shapes, you kind of want to pencil it in. Otherwise, you'd have to put a lot of thought into it. You'd probably have to start with the foreground and then draw around it, which I don't recommend. But you could do it for if you just feel like doing that. So here's a figure from the back, and because the horizon's right here, you're basically looking like this is even. And then notice how like if it's below the horizon, you start to see like their feet, like the top of the feet. And if they're standing on like a cliff right here, we'll get it pretty close to make it more dramatic, make it more challenging, facing the challenge. Then you'll also see like the top of the cliff that they're standing on, the precipice. And then you could put some closer shapes right here. So you have yourself a composition and the beginnings of an illustration. For this part, I like having these mountains right here, and then you can kind of suggest maybe kind of a way forward, so to speak. But you can have, so any of this like white space could be mist, since mountains tend to have that. And then you can just kind of suggest that it would be challenging to go forward, but that it's possible. So yeah, that's the basic composition. And I feel like from here you could make it your own character, make it another character. I'm gonna go a little bit further than this. So I'm gonna turn it into more of an illustration that I want, but as I mentioned, you can make it different from here. I think you can see, maybe that'll help to zoom in. So that's the basic setup there. But I'm going to keep it at this zoom level so I don't have to keep moving the sketchbook. So from here, like once you have a sketch, you can start to define it. You can take a kneaded eraser and remove like any, just leave like the ghost lines, like the guidelines. And as I do this, I just want to talk about like how I've used AI images. I prefer to call them AI images because the artistic aspect is this. Like, I mean, this is art. But like AI images can be a part of art. Like there's art elements. But I don't consider it artistry or anything. But I have used AI images because, or I have generated because when I first learned about it, I guess a couple of years ago, when it became kind of a more mainstream thing. So that's 10 minutes. I'll start another 10-minute timer. I did want to know what it was about, and I mean, I get it. I mean, I don't think it's that hard to understand. Like, it's not that different than digital art or anything like that. Like, I was excited to do digital art, so I see like what the whole thing is about. Like, I get it. Like, and I used it for a while, for like a month, not to produce finished work, but to understand like what's going on. And yeah, I mean, I get it. It's still like it has problems, and I'm not gonna get into that. But yeah, there's issues about it, like very strong issues, honestly. But my point is that I wanted to do this because I have an AI image that I'm using for like this like goal setting app, and it has like this imagery, and because maybe I typed in something like this, like a prompt, and I liked it. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I get how it is pretty fun to just have an idea and then something spits out like an image that you like. But again, that's kind of another topic, but I get it. It's instant gratification. And then on top of that, if you adjust this and that, like you feel like you did something, but you really didn't do anything. But anyway, I wanted to do this because, one, since I said it was like a goal setting kind of app, like I use this as like the kind of like the inspiration image, and but I've like leveled up. So this kind of I want this to sort of represent that as like my level up. Let me zoom in because pencil's kind of boring to look at. Plus I'm just gonna work on like the figures. So you'll notice like in this back part, it can be pretty like, and just going off of what I just said about like the AI image that I generated, it was I wanted it to be like pen and ink, so it was pretty simple, but I liked it. It actually was inspiring, and so that's kind of my point. Like, I'm not saying that the images aren't inspiring, like they really are, But at the same time, like you could just draw it, and so that's kind of why I wanted to do this. So I'll leave that pretty basic, and I might just kind of um, like look up some mountains and stuff, and then just. But see, that's how I like to use the reference, where I have the sketch, and then I just kind of use reference to kind of do this. And again, it's a whole nother topic of, well, why don't you just generate it with AI? Like, what's the big difference? Like, there is. And I don't know if it's just because of me or what. I know other people agree, but not everybody agrees. So there is a difference. Like, I think I don't know. Like, and like I said, I do get why when you generate an image, it could work. Like, it could be a good picture. I don't know. But I guess, one, I'm going to level up. So I want to do a picture where I'm leveled up and then help others if they want to do the same kind of thing. So, and also show that it's just as good, but like probably better to do it this way. But that's a whole nother thing. But so yeah, I'm gonna just work on this for the remainder of the video, and then maybe we can revisit. I'll probably work on it some more, or maybe I'll just leave it and then, because I have other stuff to work on. But what I'm going to do is kind of define the figure a little bit more, so that since I am penciling it anyway, it would be good to just get the figure drawing part like figured out. So this is basically the back view, and I'm going to keep it kind of generic, because if you're following along, you might have a different character in mind. From the back view, the main thing is like the shoulder blades have to be there, the neck attaches a little differently, the hips, depending on male or female, it's just like the ratio right here of the shoulder to the hip. It's like a different proportion. But this character is probably going to be might have a cloak, so I'm not too worried. Plus, it's going to be a guy, so because the image I currently have is a guy. This is supposed to be me, but like my avatar, but like in the app, like I said, or in the image, it was kind of like a young hero starting out on the journey of the hero's journey. You can see how the feet work. You can see a little bit more of the top of the feet because of the horizon line is right here. So I'm not gonna post like the AI image. I don't want to do that. So, but in the image, the character is holding a sword. So maybe I'll just kind of go off of that. Now, then there's the whole argument of like, well, I just use AI for like inspiration or whatever. Again, I mean, you can do whatever. I don't feel like, I mean, I don't control anything. I mean, all I can control is how I do stuff. So I'll kind of upgrade his sword here. You can see it, okay. And then in the image, he had a cloak, which I'm going to start to suggest. It has to be like kind of tattered to represent the fact that he got this far. I guess my thing is, I did get inspired by that image, but then again, I got inspired by this, and then there's like an argument about, well, how's that any different? I mean, yeah, I don't know. It seems different. Like for me, for example, when I started learning, I mean, I traced and then I stopped because it just didn't seem right, and then even when I got into like professional work where deadlines were like a big deal. I also looked for ways of doing shortcuts, and I didn't like that. I mean, I didn't want to go in that direction but like you had to kind of do it for the deadlines. But after a while, so in a way, I'm glad that I'm kind of doing stuff the way that I'm doing it, because it just didn't feel right anyway. Just like I never really liked like photo bashing, because whenever I would try out for like game studios or whatever, that's what they wanted, and it's just not my thing, and so that's why I couldn't work for them. So now that I got this far, I'm just gonna start to get rid of the figure here so I can have the cloak. So I'm going to turn this into like a leveled up version of my avatar, which was originally AI generated, but then again, the AI also took ideas. So I mentioned before that the technology is pretty awesome. I mean, it's just that the way it's being done is crappy. The way it's being used is crappy. So I'm pretty okay with this. I'm gonna give him more hair than me. It's an avatar, why not go all out? So yeah, I'll go with something kind of like this, and go ahead and zoom out. And so yeah, my point is, one, I just wanted to create a new kind of image for myself. As far as like shading, you can just kind of, I like doing like kind of the darker version, so that's another 10 minutes. I'll start to wrap this up, kind of like do it a little bit darker, and then have like the bottom of the mountains be have like mist. And I'll probably just not have anything off to the side here, because I want I want it to look more open in the foreground here. Also, it might be good to like put a shadow, dramatic kind of shadow, like that. So this is just an idea. You could go with this particular theme. Well, I guess the theme is facing the challenge, but like this kind of character, but it could be a different one, just like in that painting, whatever it is, the guy was not a fantasy character. So yeah, I'm going to start to end this video, and I want to thank you for joining me for our daily sketching routine. And if you like these videos, please support the channel. I appreciate it. And until next time, keep on sketching.